Hi Bloomer, it's Martina here at Bloom Beyond. Welcome to this series on Bloom Beyond Belief, understanding religion through psychology. And I want to start off by asking you a question. What drives you to believe or not believe? And what role do you think that psychology plays in your spiritual, sacred journey? And second, I want to point out that when I say religion, I mean our connection to that which is beyond you, beyond us as humans, but that we might connect to and that we might have a relationship to. Whether you have a committed relationship to it or not, we all have a relationship to that which is beyond us. So we're going to explore religion from the point of view of all the way from the secular point of view to the spiritual, to the sacred, and the more religious. And I am currently now enrolled in religion psychology at the University of Oslo. And I'm wrapping up that course now and have gone through plenty of seminars and read a whole lot about religion psychology, looking at religion through the lens of psychology. I'm also a clinical psychology student and a Christian life coach, and I really pray and hope that what I have learned, both through my personal experience of having explored personal development and spiritual growth and been on a sacred journey for the past decade, I hope that plus all of what I've read can assist you and support you in understanding a little bit more about the psychology of religion and the psychology of faith, even though that faith in and of itself can't be fully grasped or understood. So I pray and I hope that you would want to be curious with me, to lean in and to discuss also in the comments of the different videos that I'll be posting on this topic of blooming beyond belief, understanding religion through psychology. So we will essentially learn about the fascinating interplay between psychology and religion and how it is that our beliefs shape us as individuals and also as a collective society at large and can inform and reform our faith. So here's a little sneak peek of the different topics that we will explore together. Firstly, and these are not necessarily in order, but overall topics that we will explore: psychoanalysis and faith. How can these walk hand in hand? And how can we look at this together? We'll look at Freud's perspective and Jung's perspective, and also essentially their theories and how their theories shape our perceptions of religion and self. And then we'll also talk about God representations and exploring how our images of God develop and also influence our lives, because these God representations that we all have in our minds about who God is, and what relationship we have to God, we all have these God representations and images in our minds. And that is what we'll explore, how these can actually develop throughout our lives and what it is that can influence those images shifting or staying the exact same, because they're dynamic, these God representations. We'll also talk about spiritual and mystical experiences. Super interesting. So we'll be investigating different types of spiritual experience, because there's a whole amount of experiences that we can have, and also look at their psychological underpinnings and how these spiritual experiences can be noticed in our brains, in our, experience, in our belief system, and ultimately in our psychology, And that there's so much to learn from these spiritual experiences, and that there are different ways that we can respond to spiritual experiences as well. And we'll talk about what it is that is important to keep in mind when you are delving into spiritual experiences and how to integrate them properly so that it can change and shift the trajectory of your life for the better, and that you will keep your mental, psychological well-being overall, physical well-being overall healthy, and that you won't fall into maladaptive patterns or dysfunction because of the spiritual experiences, because that can absolutely happen. And we need to look at the data, and also look at studies about these spiritual experiences to understand what we're actually grappling with here, because this is something that is becoming more and more and more attractive to people to engage in, and we would want to support you. I'd want to support you through that. Then we'll also talk about the existential meaning and religion. So when we're talking about religion psychology, we'll also talk about the existential aspect of it. Very often, why we tend to explore and go on a spiritual journey more consciously is that we have existential questions. We sit with questions like, who am I? What am I here for? What is the meaning of life, right? So we'll talk about how faith intersects with our search for meaning and purpose in a modern world and overall throughout history, right? In our individual lives, but also in the collective. Because we have meaning. We truly have meaning, and it is so worthy, and it makes so much sense that you are seeking truth. And I just want to honor that and celebrate that, and we can explore more of meaning together. It's a very interesting topic that it's been written a lot about, and that there's plenty of research on also. We will also talk about the role of the self. Okay, so understanding the connection between self-identity and spiritual beliefs. And if there is such a thing as self-development, and if there is a time and a place for self-love, self-development, and all the things spirituality, and really connecting with the self after having been, let's say, in the material world and not really thinking about self, maybe sacrificing self for the detriment of oneself. If there is such a time and a place for that, before one goes beyond oneself and begins to see that life is really also about contribution, about giving back, about creation, about wholehearted love. So we'll talk about the role of self when we also explore this topic of religion psychology. And then we'll talk about psychotic phenomena and spirituality, okay? So you might have noticed that psychedelics is a thing in the spiritual journey that a lot of people now begin picking up, and that they explore their relationship with the beyond through. And I want to address the research on it, and I want to address the pros and the cons for it, and I want to kind of examine the very thin line between spiritual experiences and psychotic episodes, okay? Because these different psychotic or psychedelic ways of exploring can trigger psychotic episodes for some, but not for everyone, right? And you never really know what you're entering, but there are different ways that we can learn about the different psychedelics, about what it is that they do, and how that can influence oneself, right? In this journey of spirituality, or on the journey of seeking truth. Then we'll also talk about conspirituality and manifestation, and the rise of New Age practices and their psychological implications as well. So when I say conspirituality, we're often then talking about conspiracy theories, and when we're talking about manifestation, it really is the belief that you in yourself have power to manifest something through your thoughts and through your vibration and energy, right? And I have been through the whole manifestation journey and explored a lot and done a lot of certifications in assisting people with realizing the power that is within them, that they can absolutely align their thoughts and their energy to be able to attract certain things in their life. However, I want to address here in these videos the pros and the cons there, the pitfalls in the manifestation industry and the coaching industry that it is very important to be aware of, and how there might be some overlaps here between the whole manifestation industry and the religious points of view, that there might be an interconnection there that some people might not see, and I want to invite you to explore this with me. The conspirituality is really about conspiracy theories and how there is an interconnection here between the New Age world and those who tend to believe in conspiracy theories that we see rising. And we want to talk about what that is and where that might be coming from, and the use of conspiracy theories and the pitfalls of that as well. So I really just want to invite you here to engage. I invite you to join me in this exploration, because I don't know it all. I don't. And I really think that everyone have got their little piece of the puzzle, and that we can all contribute to get some more answers together here. So whether you identify as religious, spiritual, or as a skeptical, this series really aims to speak to everyone, really. And we'll ask important questions here, share personal insights, and hopefully we'll find some answers together. And even though that I, hands on my heart, stand with Christ and I am a Christian, that does not mean that anyone else is not welcome here. You are welcome here, because I might have something to share with you that you don't know. You might have something to share with me that I don't know. And you know, we all can assist one another on this spiritual, sacred journey that we call life, and connecting beyond ourselves together. So as we embark on this journey, I encourage you to engage in the comments, like I've said, share your thoughts, and let me know what topics it is that resonate most with you, or that you might want to hear more about as well, because your perspectives will absolutely enrich the discussion here. And before we now very soon wrap up here for now, I want to remind you also about the garden. The garden is both a community, it's a place where you also get coaching and guides and gatherings that are both in person in Oslo and also online. And there's also a chat to engage in too. And this is a space where we gather to contemplate, to connect, and to contribute together. It's so beautiful to see people from different walks of life, different belief systems, different ways to relate to the beyond come together and explore these topics that I will be talking about more in this series too. And yeah, we explore all questions of faith and psychology together in a supportive environment, because I deeply believe that there is a connection here between the psychology and our well-being psychologically with our spiritual life and our sacred life. And if you're curious about joining this journey of discovery and connection, at a more intimate level with me and with those that are in the garden community, the gardeners as I call them, then just check out the link below, have a look at that, and you'll see some more details there about the garden. And yeah, let's grow in our understanding of faith and religion psychology together. It's so good to have you here.